Alright, YouTube viewers, I wanted to bring everyone up to speed on exactly what has happened in my life since October 6, 2009, when I was unceremoniously terminated from my position at SCI Crescent. The very first thing I did was contact my business agent for my union. We started a grievance at that time based on my termination. I also contacted the EEO, which is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, through the Department of Corrections. That is the body I had to go through to appeal the decision that was just made. I also contacted the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission. I also contacted the State Civil Service Commission. I also contacted the EEOC, which is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. That is the federal agency. Next, what I did was I contacted my local state representative, Mr. Rick Geist. I also contacted John Eichelberger. I also contacted Mr. Schuster's office. That didn't get me very far, so what I then did was contact Mr. Arlen Spector's office. I also contacted Mr. Casey's office. Didn't stop there. I then contacted the ACLU. Why? I'm not sure. I just thought maybe my civil liberties were abridged a little bit, so I contacted them. Next, what I did was I tried to get a hold of Secretary Beard. No phone calls, emails, or anything was returned from his office. More on that later. I did get a hold of Mr. Beard. Next, I contacted the governor's office. They referred me back to the Department of Corrections. Next, I contacted, who was next on the list? The governor's office. I actually tried to contact the president. Didn't get anything back there either. However, I did get a hold of Secretary Beard through a television interview. He was on a local PCN network on a call-in show. So what I did was I decided that since I couldn't get a hold of him through either email, phone calls, or written correspondence, that what I would do was contact him on the phone, and this was the question that I asked him.
Once again, off to Altoona now. Rick, you're on PCN.
Yes, Secretary Beard. I was wondering what your policy is on hiring and retention for people with disabilities, like employees, not inmates.
Well, we certainly hire people who have disabilities. It depends on the job that you're talking about. For instance, if you're talking about a corrections officer, they have certain essential job functions that they have to do. So there's certain people with some disabilities that would be disqualified because they couldn't do the essential functions of the job. But then there are other positions that we have, say as, let's say, a counselor's position or a clerical position, where people with various disabilities could be hired into those jobs, and we do in fact have people with disabilities working for us who do a fine job.
Interesting, isn't it? He wouldn't answer a phone call from me or an email, but he would answer it on a call-in show, and I think he answered it pretty good by saying that DOC does not discriminate, especially against counselors, since we don't have those job functions that would preclude me from doing any job. So next then what I did was I obviously contacted several attorneys. A couple attorneys had seen my first YouTube video and got in contact with me. I have since retained those lawyers. Over the course of the next couple months, what had happened was my health deteriorated, and the reason it deteriorated, I believe, is due to the stress of the situation. All my bills stayed the same. My mortgage stayed the same. My car payment stayed the same. My son wants to eat, so therefore my child support stayed the same. I was working on a lot less money every month. I had to file for unemployment, obviously. So I was in danger of losing my health care as well. So what happened was I strained, I struggled. MS is a disease of the neurological system. So what it does is, in times of stress, it attacks itself. So, over the course of 8 months, it's been attacking itself on a regular basis. Thus, my health has taken quite a hit. So, what I have had to do, the next couple of appointments I had with my doctor, we saw a general deterioration of my ability to walk. So I once again went in and tried to attempt a new medication. I am on my third medication in 3 years. So as you can see, the Department of Corrections put me in a really bad spot. So all I've been trying to do since then is simply get my job back. Now what I did to deserve getting terminated was I asked for a reasonable accommodation so that I can continue with my employment. The only reason I was terminated was because I made that request. So in other words, had I not made that request, I wouldn't have had to go through the past 8 months of less money, worrying about my health care, worrying about paying my bills, worrying about anything. I wouldn't have had to worry about any of that if I just didn't make that darn request to the ADA Commission. So as I sit here today, here's what's going on. The state is putting off my grievance because I had to file for temporary disability retirement. They're saying I'm no longer an employee, so they don't have to worry about it. Well, that's not true. They do have to worry about it because I'm still pursuing this. And I hope to get back to work someday. So, here's where we sit. We sit here today. I don't know what my future plans are as far as the Department of Corrections go, but I do know that I do plan on getting my job back. I've been unemployed now for the first time in my life since I've been 18 years old. One of the biggest things is this. I'm trying to set a positive example for people around me by showing that once you have some adversity in your life, you just don't let it dominate your life. You go out there, you persevere, and you achieve. You conquest. You get over things. Well, guess what? Right now, I am in a spot where my fight is with the DOC, and right now my grievance isn't even supposed to be heard until October of 2010. So that'll be a whole year that I filed a grievance that we haven't heard anything. So, I'm a man of very few words, as you can tell. So what I want to do at this point is thank all the people who viewed my last 2 videos, and for all the feedback. People still keep me informed as to what's going on throughout the Department of Corrections, and I appreciate that. Special thanks I'd like to give is to my friends and family, especially to Diana. Diana, you have done a lot for me. You've been there since day one, and although I am a union steward and I should have known how to do a lot of this, once again, I can talk. Diana, you have made me do things that I wouldn't even have thought of. So a special thanks to Diana. Everybody else, I'm not going away. I'm going to try to keep you updated. The one thing I do want to say about this is every organization that I have talked to that I've filed an appeal with, through the EEO, the EEOC, the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission, Civil Service, everybody told me the same thing. They told me they can't do that. Well, I'm here to tell you, not only can they do it, they did do it. And why did they do it? Once again, I'll go back to it. They did it for one reason, and one reason only, and that is because I filed for a reasonable accommodation that is, by law, through the ADA, that is a request I can make. Had I not filed that, I would be sitting at SCI Crescent today. So, until the next tape, I will sign off now, and we'll make a future one to let you know how this all turns out, whether it's after October with what the Department of Corrections says, with the grievance I filed, or whatever happens. I will keep everyone updated on both this situation as well as my health. But in the meantime, have a great day. Thank you for listening to me complain.